Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week, for our 300th episode, we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Arendis.
Hey, everybody.
And Sans Winda.
Hello.
And also, please welcome our guest for this week. We have Draculetta.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. And we have Andang.
Hey, everybody.
And Maven.
Hey, y'all.
And give a special welcome to the community manager for LOTRO, Cordovan.
Hey,
Woo-hoo!
Nice to be here. Thanks.
Hello there, Cordovan. And hello, everyone else, for our 300th episode. Whee!
Yay!
And that's no small feat. And you've been at the helm for most all of it?
Yeah.
Because I did 192 episodes of DDO Cast, and so I know how long and how much work 192 is. And
Okay.
you are beyond that, so.
Okay, look, Pineleaf just has to show up and read show notes.
Okay, you're right then. You're right then.
Okay, wait a second.
Wow.
Hold on.
No, I mean, you're right. That's fine then. Let's just not give finally any credit.
Wow.
It's fine.
No. I mean, he is definitely the most consistent cast member. But-
He gets good on attendance, and he has to corral us every single week, which he's not doing a very good job of right now, but he usually does a pretty good job with.
Well, it's the 300th episode, so you might
So
have
he's cutting people a little slack.
a little bit.
But no, I think Pineleaf's hosted every episode but one.
Well,
Which
I
would
have to
been
go
what,
back
like
and
the first one before you got permission to have him?
yes. Let's see. It's been a while since I've listened to the first episode, so maybe I'll find out exactly how that was hosted.
Not
But-
recommended to listen to the first episode of your show.
No, it is not. I made that problem with DDO Players News a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, wow, this show sucked really bad. Wow, it was horrible. Never go back. Never.
Maybe
Small
look at
steps. You start small and it grows larger and better over time.
Yeah. Maybe I should instead then have a look at the show notes to see how different they looked.
Oh, show notes. That's how you did 300 shows. Oh, I'm kidding.
Oh, you what? DDO Cast doesn't have show notes?
Oh, no, I had highly extensive show notes. That would be like, that thing, remember?
But no, it is pretty amazing that Pineleaf has been here through the whole iteration of LOTRO Players News and all of the changes, all of the different hosts. Just Pineleaf is the one solid thing about this show.
And I can confirm
And you can
he
set
was
your
on-
clock by him.
You can.
You can set, so it's all in one package.
Not only that, you could get the Pineleaf countdown.
There is an app for that.
There is an app for that.
So speaking of the Pineleaf countdown, I have just one request for Pineleaf, and that is, Illuvatar forbid this ever happens, but the day that LOTRO ends, Pineleaf's there on the server doing the countdown on a live stream, counting down until the world closes. This has to happen.
Well,
Should that day ever come, we'll consider it, I guess. That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Well,
Like
if
I said,
Pineleaf
Illuvatar
himself
forbid.
can't make it, you can always download the countdown.
well,
There you
there
go.
is that. Or
That would be right, like a robo countdown for the
Yeah.
end of the world.
I could just imagine the Harbingers start breaking out of the skirmishes and attacking everybody. And I'm giving Cordovan ideas.
Skirmish lieutenants run amok across the landscape of Middle Earth.
Oh my god.
And all of the lost pine leaves show up.
Oh boy, I could just imagine Leadfoot Brutes and Bree. Yeah.
Somebody who's listening has already started thinking about a fanfic story to write on that. So we'll stay tuned. Whoever you are out there, author.
Let's then head into our game news. And we'll begin with a PAX East interview with Standing Stone Games' Rod Severlin
Ciccolini.
Ciccolini, did you say? How do you say
Yes.
that?
Yes,
Ciccolini.
Mhm.
All right, yes. I would hope that Cordovan will know how to say it.
Sev.
Seb, yeah, that's what I usually, because it's way easier to say Seb.
Yes, Seth. You got a point there. All right, and Cord, what are the highlights of this?
Oh God, I don't know. I wasn't there. I was there, and I still don't know. No, I can't remember everything that we talked about, honestly. And I'm sure someone's come up with it, but it was a whirlwind of stuff due to PAX East. So we're trying to remember who said what when exactly has been a little bit of a challenge. In general, I think we talked a little bit about kind of big picture stuff on LI. I think we talked a little bit about the timeline, Vales of Anduin, later on this year, Minas Morgul. There was one piece that I think was new, but I can't remember what it was now. Perhaps someone in chat would remember.
Rohan housing was
Yep.
big piece of it as well. And this was done by Drew Inspire, by the way. So great job on the interview, Drew Inspire.
Why is she not in here?
I don't know.
She's around. She should be in here.
She should be. You're in the chat. Come in.
She is in the chat. And now she has access to the show. I'm just saying.
Hello, everybody.
Ah, there she is.
Hello.
Hi, Druidspire.
Hello, Druid.
Hello.
So tell us about your interview that we're butchering talking about here. It was really amazing. It really was. We're not doing too good of a job of hyping it for you, though.
And neither is Druidspire.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out why I was getting an echo. It's because I was hearing you both on Discord and the live cast, so now I need to open the live cast and actually look at chat rather than anything else. So actually, Rohan housing is not new. Severlin teased us about that last year, same time, It's just that he finally confirmed the prevailing player theory as to how we were going to get it and where.
Oh, right, yeah. That when Riders was ready for Legendary, it would make sense to do that either along with that or prior to that, something like that.
Ooh. That sounds interesting then.
Yep.
Then probably when it gets to, because I would presume Rohan's going to be put out in 2 steps on the Legendary server.
That's a good question. We haven't
Yeah.
gotten there yet. Ask me when we get closer. But yeah, probably something. It'll be similar. What we'll basically use as a roadmap is what we did for live. So however it was released on live would be an attempt, probably what we would try to do on Legendary.
All right, in which case that would be in 2 steps then, since we had the Eastern Rohan, then Western Rohan. But first we have to go through Mirkwood and then Dunland before that happens.
Yeah, it's a little ways off yet.
And then anything else to add that was really interesting in that interview?
Well, the Severlin did acknowledge that the Legendary servers are doing better than they expected. We were all kind of expecting, lots of interest and then a cliff as everybody went back to the regular servers where they blaze through the content, go back to the regular thing. No, but that didn't actually happen.
You mean, yeah, that's right. I do go there and I still see a lot of people there sometimes when I'm going through the area.
Yeah, Balbiel is actually playing on one right now on the official LOTRO channel.
Okay.
So people still do it.
And I should know since I'm I'm still playing there. Then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon issue 105, where someone is flying a kite. And in our community spotlight this week, we have Polnol.
I love it when Pineleaf tries to pronounce it.
I think it's was it Polnoluni?
Yeah, Polo
Looney.
Looney, that makes sense. Okay, Polo Looney presents Sounds of Spring Saturday, April 13th on Laurelin. And you're invited to The May Queen, a Hobbit Spring musical on the Brandy Badgers, Sunday, April 14th on Laurelin. And Bloodborne will be doing a LOTRO Points giveaway on his stream throughout April and May. And the Kinship We Happy Few is hosting Hunter Hunt, a hide and seek event in the Crick Hollow server Saturday evenings at 5 p.m. Central Time. We feature fun riddle clues of the hunters, hiding spots, varied locations, and great prizes. For our Kin Hall this week, the Incognizant Istari of Oz is an Aussie-based kin that plays at an Australian-friendly time. We began 1 year ago, and all still small but welcoming members anywhere around the world to join us in playing throughout the wonderful LOTRO story, concentrating on the content that you have to miss when playing solo. We play on Evernight server, and you can contact Falco or Aranos to find out more. And that are the Incognizant Istari of Oz. Now for our weekly comment. Have you completed Bull Roarer's Challenge?
No.
Yes.
Well,
not for lack
okay.
of not for lack of trying, I must say, but
I think I spent like half an hour politely trading back and forth with another player who was also attempting it, and I finally managed it.
But now, by Bull Roarer's Challenge, does that mean doing all of the fences?
I
I'm
can't
pretty
even
sure
do
the
one fence.
quest to go down the middle the first time was called Bull Roarer's Challenge, but I might be wrong.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a deed called Bull Roarer's Challenge that included
There
more.
might be.
Or
I haven't done it.
okay, so you've done the.
I
first
went down
iteration
the middle successfully.
then. Okay, well that's more than I did. So
While taking turns with somebody else who was very perseverant, and I felt bad giving up when the person kept falling off and getting back up, so I tried.
Giving each other some motivation.
Yep.
All right. Anyone else wants to add their successes or failures in this? Cordovan, did you ever try it?
I have to admit, I'm not actually sure what you're talking about.
Oh, Bull Roarer's
Drunken
Challenge.
fence walking.
It's a spring festival challenge.
Oh, I have done the Spring Festival Challenge, the fence walking. So, interestingly, I did it at home last year for the last Spring Festival. I just got on the first try. The fence drunken one that was kind of off to the side there. And then I went and did it on the stream the next day. I was like, well, I got it on the first try. It can't be that tough. And I spent the entire hour basically failing. So, I don't know.
And it was funny.
I have no idea what the difference was, other than, I certainly am more familiar with my keyboard and everything like that. And the keyboard I use for the stream is a little lame kind of wireless thing. But even so, I've never quite had that just sort of flawless. But I did actually do this. I wish I had video proof, but I just sort of did it, and it was just like, whatever. And so whatever it is, just by instinct, I got it right. And I have completed it a couple of times since, but not very easily.
Not very easily. Yeah, probably makes sense on that. Then let's head to the fan site news, where we have Mythgard and Middle-earth with the Tolkien Professor, Epic Shenanigery with Tesla the Panda, Adventures After Dark with Big Ed Mustafa, Lore and Laughter with Middle-earth Maiden, A Bard, Bagpipes, and Battles with Doug Glendower, Now with More Dwarves with the Dwarf Scholar, and The Golden Path Legacy of the Necromancer Part 26 with Ending. And I think that was like the first week in a long, long time where Druid's Fire was not available to stream for that week.
This week?
No, well, it would have been the previous week. Because this
I think it was PAX.
Oh, yeah, it was PAX,
right.
yeah.
Right, yeah, because that was PAX weeks and you were too busy interviewing people.
Not on Friday, I wasn't. I was at the convention.
Yeah, okay. But then that's the fan site news. And, Gordon, how does one get into the fan site news?
Why, you email all of you. And that would be LOTRO at SandingstoneGames.com.
Okie dokie. Then we will head into our screenshot of the week, which is this week's screenshot is taken by Young, Wild, and Free.
I want to know where these backpacks came from.
Yeah.
Like, how did they get the look of that on their backpack?
Yeah.
I have never seen anything like that in the game.
And that's rather strange considering how much you know about the cosmetic system.
Considering how much attention I pay to cosmetics, yes. I wonder if it's maybe a furball reward for later that I've never come across because I don't have one.
That's interesting. I'm not familiar with it either.
Unless
perhaps it's...
one?
Well, or the other thing is, what if it's a backpack and then somehow, like, sheathed something behind it or something?
No, it is a backpack. One of the musicians, Runt, Rhunt, he wears it to concerts all the time. I don't honestly remember where it comes from.
I think it might be the Elk Hunters pack.
Kind of think it's a Wildemore thing.
I've honestly never seen it before, and it gave me pause because before going into the big close-up of the image, when you just look at it in the little image, it's like, what is that coming out of that backpack? Is that antlers or is that tentacles? And I mean, you can definitely see it's antlers once you blow the picture out, but you know, it looks really wrong. But it's very awesome, and I want one really badly.
I'm just saying,
it's available in the LOTRO store for 295 LOTRO points. According
of course,
to the wiki.
it is.
I'm just saying, if you are going to have a nightmare where your backpack comes alive, that backpack is further along the spectrum of likely to be included than.
I think that looks almost something. It looks almost spiderish, right, Sans?
Dr. Octopus.
Fortunately, not quite.
Not quite.
But that was my first thought when I saw it, until I realized that it was more like antlers.
Okay.
Actually, really be
And
the
then I felt way better about it. No.
That's it for the Beacon this week. So let's head into our store sales. And Terry, what's on sale this week?
Let's see. Reclaim Millers, get 20% off select expansions and expansion quests in-game only. Enhanced XP supply and the Hornberg token, skirmishes and instances, and 100% mark acquisition boosts if you're not getting enough of those out of your Hobbit present. And the weekly coupon gets you a fall injury immunity ×5 with coupon code ImmuneFall now through April 11th.
Court doesn't need one of those. He just bounces off the mountains and misties. And there is video proof of that. Jetpacks.
Actually, the jetpack is actually not as good as you think it is. It's
I've
actually
seen the
not
jetpack.
that useful. I know, but it's not that useful. I mean, granted, it shoots you over a mountain or something. So in that regard,
It could help someone against the arch enemy of hobbits known as the Ridge.
That's true.
Let's then head into our site news, and we'll begin with Where in Middle-earth is Emeralina Part 2?
And as with last week, I'm not going to give a guess on the show, but it does stay where she was last week, and I actually guessed that last week.
Okay.
Because last week was Tar Druidan. I'm pretty sure I know where this is, though.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah.
Guess we'll find out next.
Yeah,
Kind of
we'll find
impressed
out
that
next.
this is a much more detailed picture than the one she showed me when she's like, "Hey, do you know where I am?" I was like, and she's like showing me a series of different screenshots taken at different distances back. So she picked a pretty nice one to put in here.
All right, we'll see what she's doing next week. Now let's head into. It looks like we get a couple of interesting articles at the beginning of April each year.
Never fails.
Yeah, it never fails. Where we Squirrel posted that Amazon Prime having prequels to Venus Morgul.
This was really funny. I actually laughed all the way through this.
All right. Robust client required.
Somebody on one of the Facebook Facebook pages actually was interacting with it as if it was true. Somebody had to remind him what the date was.
That's always the best when people actually believe these.
I know.
Well, that's like the time when he had it's like the people were wondering about when I posted about the skirmish of Survival Hobbiton. and people were saying, "Oh yes, actually, I think I did that one on Casual Stroll to Mordor, not here though, right?"
Yeah, that was Casual Stroll to Mordor.
Yeah, that was on Casual.
It was
Stroll
great
to Mordor.
though.
Yes, Survival Hobbiton. Yes, and that was right after they announced that there was going to be a new skirmish, and so I was like, secret information on what this new skirmish is going to be.
So you set a pie down in public and just wait and see what happens? How many hobbits come in and fight for it?
No. The idea was that it was when the brigands had taken over Hobbiton, and therefore you have to deliver pies through Hobbiton, avoiding all of the brigands that are, of course, are going to be trying to stop you.
Nice.
And then we also had as the other one, The Instance Guide to Children of the Creeps by Zinger. Telling you all the bosses you'll be facing there. But this is a 6-boss dungeon.
Yeah, it's a fairly detailed instance, actually.
Fortunately, one of the last 6 bosses is really nice. Or one of the last 3 bosses.
Demonstrates Zinger's skill with just pulling stuff out and attaching things. I love the daughter of Helchgam, the rebellious teenager. She's got slimy poofs. And she's wearing headphones with a little bow, like she's totally in rebellious teenager mode.
I was really enjoying the description of Sarah Oakhart's twin sister, Clara, who's super speedy and doesn't really like all of our picking on Sarah. That was pretty funny.
Well, yes, I noticed that she makes sure that she wears these extra fast sneakers.
Yep.
Or I guess I should say athletic shoes. And at the end, the three nieces. I guess that's sort of the go down after all of those twins that you wind up facing in.
I love that Saruman's niece has the jump rope. Like instead of the multicolored cloak, she's got a multicolored jump rope.
A jump rope of many colors.
Uh-huh. And the niece of Dagobeth has a smartphone.
Yes, probably stole it from Uncle. But anyway, Uncle has such a big mouth he could be heard without it.
Plus, he's always on top of that tower, so that helps.
Yeah, they're always that. Yeah,
he gets the best reception on top of the tower.
True. But of course, we know what the real news at the site is. Episode 300!
Yay!
Whee!
Congrats!
Yes, congratulations everyone who has been here during the many years. We're getting pretty close to 6 years now.
And come June, it'll be 6 years.
I'm wondering, alright, I wonder what the pool was like, if anyone had entered a pool on how long we would last. if anyone had gotten up to 300 in their guesses.
I'm guessing they all lost.
Then how about someone have any giveaways for this to celebrate the anniversary?
I do.
Woo!
Pick me.
All right,
yes,
Drac.
We have some giveaways. We're going to have some giveaways over on the site in the next couple of days, so I'm going to not spoil those. You'll find out what those are soon. But everybody that is in the chat room right now that is not affiliated with this show, are the Players Alliance, needs to email me at drac@lotroplayers.com, drac@lotroplayers.com, and you are going to get 100 points, a 100-point code. I will email you that back, and the point codes are thanks to Cordovan and Standing Stone Games. So thank you for giving us those to give away.
Awesome.
No problem. Least we can do.
Guys.
But once again, everybody in the chat, email me at drac@lotroplayers.com. You'll get a 100-point code, and look for some more giveaways coming over to the site probably Monday or Tuesday.
All right. And who is not eligible for this?
Anybody that is a former host or a host of the show. I'm looking at you, Andy. You are not eligible.
Well, see, I was going to get that red painted skeleton steed just with those points.
Oh, the first skeleton steed joke of the night.
Oh, that is cruel.
Oh, that is. Wow.
I'm sorry, Drac.
Cruel indeed.
I feel bad now. That got
it's cool.
sad.
No, it's cool.
Hey, well.
I'm not bitter or anything. It's fine. It's cool.
Well, for those of you who may not have heard this joke, I believe hasn't Drac been trying to get a red skeleton steed out of loot boxes for years now, and it just, for some reason, just doesn't.
Well, then.
That became a thing. I don't remember when the red skeleton steed was first introduced, but been trying to get one ever since it came out.
Well, then I guess you're happy that there aren't any more loot boxes, right? Okay, there are no more. Okay, no more key drops, so therefore you would have to buy the keys if you wanted to try a loot box again.
Like, I still would not get a horse, so, whatever.
Well, true.
Stupid RNG, but whatever, it's fine.
True.
I got 2.
Of course you do.
You did.
I know I said this the last time I was on the show, but to this day, I still get people that tweet at me, or if they see me in game or something, they'll say, "Hey, I just got a red skeleton steed." Or they'll send me a picture. Look at this cool horse I got, and I'm like,
Yes, I know. But what really, really got you, though, is the time someone showed off their red skeleton steed in the middle of Barovia.
yes.
How they got that into
That
the
was
other
funny.
game, I don't know.
It's called Photoshop.
Exactly. It's an amazing tool, Pine. Maybe you should look at it.
It's amazing, too. All right.
Grant uses it all the time so he can have his red painted skeleton.
That's right. I'll show you. I'll make my own.
Then let's head into Brax's memorial pick of the week, which is Light the Beacons, episode 99.
Yes, Pineleaf, this is the Light the Beacons yearly episode.
Light the Beacons. Yes.
And every year it's great, and this year's no exception. It's fantastic. And he even left a comment on our show last week that kept in character. So if you want to read that on your own, you can. It's really long, but it's awesome. He's staying in character on other people's shows even. It's great.
He's dedicated.
Yeah.
So does that mean that he is going to be having a 100 episode soon?
Well, that was the thing that said will never happen. So we'll see if it does happen.
Ah, so that's why this is the end for the title of the episode.
Indeed. Yeah. Get all the way to 99 and then you have to stop.
I'm sure that's not going to happen, but we shall see.
It was posted on April 1st, so we'll see.
True. And in fact, somebody here did flag this as an April Fool's episode.
Yep.
Then let's head into our new player question. And who's asking the question this week? Arendis?
Yep, it's me. It's a little off topic for a celebratory episode, so I hope that's okay. How do you go about getting a house?
How do you go about getting a house? Well, we'll first assume that we are talking about the standard housing as opposed to the premium housing. Yeah. In which case, at level 15, you will have these quest givers here who will somehow be trying to send you to brokers all over the place. Hey, go and visit one of the housing brokers, and then a couple of people are also giving you ones to deliver things to the housing neighborhoods or whatever. So that's to give you a hint that there is this thing called housing neighborhoods and housing. But in order to actually purchase a house, you will go to one of these housing brokers, and you'll find one in Breeland. I'd say about 2/3 of the way to the Forsaken Inn from Bree.
Yeah.
And you'll find one in the Shire near the racetrack. You'll find one in, at Thorn's Gate. Let's see, it'll be beyond. If you go from Fern's Court and you go to the Stable Masters and go beyond there, you'll lead to there. I don't go to the one in Thorn's Hall that well, so it's hard for me to give directions to that one. And as for the elf one, that's about halfway between Dwoyland and Needlehole. And they're way off the roads on them. Actually, I think Thorn's Hall is probably right on the road, but a lot of them others, you have to go down a path a little while in order to get to the actual housing neighborhood. And
I'm actually looking right now at where my house is. It's in the Fallathorn homesteads, and that's the one you were talking about. That's in, I believe, off the Bree area, right?
No, that's the Elven one that's off of Dweeland near the
Oh, okay, because it says to the Shire. I usually end up in the Shire, but you're right. I guess when you open up the map, it's technically Eredluin.
Yeah, it's in Eredluin, yeah, just Right, because it's before you go through the phased gate. And you talk to one of the housing brokers, and they'll give you the offers in there. You could buy either a normal house, which costs about a gold, I believe, or you could buy a deluxe house, which costs about 7 gold, if I recall correctly. But prices vary depending on the location of the house. If you're close to the vendors or close to the entrance, I think they tend to be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, and I remember having to save up for a long time. Part of getting a house is saving gold in game when you're that early level.
Right. And your house is what you do with the house once you first off, you buy the house for whichever the price it is, and the first challenge is, of course, finding the house you want and seeing if any of the neighborhoods has the house that you're looking for. So you could go wandering around the neighborhood and see if there's a house that appeals to you. And usually it's because of the location is nice, because you want one on the hill, or you want one lower down, you want one by the water, or you want a good view of the windmill or something like that. So different people have things that they like about their houses.
If you pick a kind of empty neighborhood to wander around and look at different houses, and you see a for sale sign, you don't even have to go back to the broker to try to find the house. You can just buy that house.
Yeah, you just click on that. It says you want to buy this house.
From the for sale sign, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always buy it from the for sale sign also, which can make things really convenient. But as Sam said...
then you don't have to remember what address you were at.
Oh, yeah. True, it's a lot better than that. But if you're going through a neighborhood where most of the houses are bought, obviously that would be a little bit more difficult. The advantage of going through a housing neighborhood which has sold houses that are already bought is that you might see how various people decorate them. But of course, you can always go to another neighborhood after buying one if you wanted suggestions on that. And that's how you buy a house. No, the premium housing, though, is instead of costing gold, costs mithril. So that's...
Or writs that you buy in the store.
Oh yeah, you can also buy writs in the store for it. I always forget about that. I always forget that you could also get them with writs. So you have a choice of doing it either way. Either buying housing writs or buying mithril coins, and whichever one you do, you can then use that in order to purchase your house, and the premium ones are bigger than the regular houses. The regular houses, the 7 gold ones are a lot bigger than the regular houses, and likewise, you do have different levels of the houses in the premium neighborhoods, where, of course, you pay a lot more mithril for those ultra-large ones. I'm sure you've heard Terry Adwin refer to even the small ones as bank vaults.
Yeah, the Belfalis Bank Vault.
Yeah, the Belfalis Bank Vaults.
Hopefully the Rohan house looks less bank vaulty.
Yeah. And in fact, that's one reason why I do not buy deluxe houses, is because I even think that the deluxe houses in the regular neighborhoods are too large for my taste, which is why I buy one of the small-sized ones.
What do you do with all your decorations, though?
It's fortunate when they decided to add more hooks, I can tell you that. I was quite pleased when they added more hooks, so I was actually able to store more things in my house. But yes, that is the problem. It's harder to get more stuff onto there simply because of that. But I do have a bank vault on a lot of the servers also, where I could also stick decorations on top of the ones that I have at the regular house. But my regular house is a nice little cozy hobbit hole.
We might also... Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I like the one in Falithorn. It's very quick and easy to get to for me. I've got a place right kind of right by the entrance, and I can jump across to get to the shared vault, the escrow broker, the provisioner, and all that sort of thing. And since you bind to it, it's a pretty quick way for me to just zip around between quests and locations and things like that. So I actually tend to use it more as a milestone point than, say, traditional housing, but it's really useful and I like it.
Oh yes, a lot of people use it basically as a milestone and port over to it. I want to port over to it so that I can head over to the vault or whatever I want to do on there. I believe it's a hour cooldown for the regular neighborhoods and a 10-minute on the premium neighborhoods.
Premium's instant. It's like a minute.
Oh, it's only a minute? All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I should note that there are also houses for kinships, and in order to buy those, you have to, I think, is it the kin leader who has to buy it, or is the kin leader who has to buy it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think it can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to be the kin leader who has to buy
it.
You can find the back of that on both our official help support pages as well as the LOTRO wiki, and that'll probably get you all the info you need on that. But essentially, your kinship's got to be, if I recall, level 7. And then you can explore the kinship, the premium kinship housing, and then purchase similar like you would to a regular house, like if it's got a for sale sign or something of that nature. And I believe you can also do it from the broker, the Cape of Belphalis broker. And I recommend, if you can get one, the islands. They're cool.
Yes.
I own 4 of them.
What, 4 islands?
Yes.
One advantage of working for Standing Stone Games is I ended up kind of camping that broker for a while so I could get an island housing when more opened up. And then we do add stuff periodically when we can, but I think we're pretty close to what we can do at this point comfortably. So I'm not quite sure where we are ultimately. I think we're going to come up with a better solution that'll allow us to offer, as much as people want, right?
Yeah, I know it's tough because every time you had to add more instances in order to do it. And I think there was a server that was for a while, like at capacity, whatever the capacity was for a while. I think it took them.
They tend to be at capacity for a while, and then there's someone on the team who just kind of every now and then, takes a look at things and then sees if more instances need to be added. But I'm actually of the opinion that at least on a couple of servers, we might be fairly close to what we can do there.
Right, that's what I thought, because there's only so much resources you can spare for it, probably.
So, well, like I say, ultimately, we have said that Sev has said, like, even in, I think it was in the producer's letter, right, that we want to do some kinship work in the near future. Right. And hopefully some of that would be re-engineering some of that thing to really do what works best, not just for us, but for you all as well as players. And clearly there's far more demand for that island housing than some of the other housing. So that's a suggestion we will take to heart, right?
So... yeah, he actually missed the kinship meeting because he was doing executive producer stuff. That's what he said in the interview. However, I do have 2 suggestions. Yes, more kinship houses that are cool. And folks are like, Rohan, I want a stable for my mounts, please.
Oh, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
That would be really cool.
Ooh, yes.
I think for new players, we should probably also mention maintenance fees. Because if you were trying to save up for, like, the big house, the premium house or whatever, and you got together your 7 gold, you might want to take note of how much upkeep this will be, and plan to be able to pay for that as well so that you can keep access to your house.
Oh, yes, there is that. You do have to pay.
It's not bad,
No, it's inexpensive, and you can pay ahead of time, too. You just go to the escrow, or just open up your character sheet, and then click on House, and then click on the one that you've purchased, and click on Maintenance, and you'll see a whole bunch of things. It'll say how much it's going to cost, and what your lockout date is, and your lockout date can be pushed by paying basically a week at a time for, let's see, I'm looking at mine right now, and the week deposit upkeep is like 57 silver. That's not that much. I'm sitting on 32 gold, 238 silver, and I barely even worry about my income. So I imagine people who play more often than me are far higher than that. So it becomes a fairly trivial maintenance after a while. But it is something you need to do. But you can just do that straight from your character sheet. And you can, if you want to, you can use Mithril as well. But, it's up to you, whatever you feel is best.
Using Mithril on regular housing neighborhoods for upkeep sounds a bit... But unless you're rolling in Mithril and have absolutely no gold, it sounds like an unlikely thing you'd want to do.
And for maintenance of kinship houses, if you are VIP, upkeep is waived. And if you are a leader, upkeep is waived. So there is no upkeep on kinship stuff.
There isn't? I thought it was only the premium houses that had
only
it.
Only the Balfour's housing.
Not if you're VIP.
Yes. Yep. I still had to pay upkeep on my old Falithorn kinship house until I bought.
Yeah, I have to pay mine in Thornsall.
Oh yeah, right. No, I am specifically talking about the Belfast housing.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So the Belfast housing, it is waived for actually for any of the houses if you're a VIP.
In Belfast.
Right. Yeah, because I have premium houses on 4 servers too, and they're all free. But yeah, if you're the leader of a kinship but not VIP, you have to pay upkeep on a Belfast house.
Which is, make sure that you have a kin leader that's VIP.
Or a lifer.
Yeah, I mean, you can... Exactly right. There are ways you can take care of that.
Yep. Let's then head into our week in LOTRO. And we'll begin with Arendis. What were you up to?
Well, I'll keep this short and sweet. I was actually not able to play due to some real life stuff, so that's it for me. Saint Swinda, what did you do?
I played some with Cinders, who was really, 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 really excited about epic battles. And it was awesome.
How long did that last?
She's still pretty excited about it. So it's lasting. We ran like 3 epic battles one night and 2 the next night. And then real life stuff happened, so we'll probably get to the last one that she needed soon. But we got her Lore Master and my Rune Keeper she was rank 1 and I was rank 0. And she is now rank 4 and I am now rank 3. And every time she unlocks a new thing that she can do, she's really excited about it. And she's starting to see what some of us are talking about, and I think she's enjoying it. She was really frustrated with it though before she talked me into this, and so my take on it was she was super excited, but she told me after our 5th epic battle that she was really frustrated and about to give up, and decided to talk me into it. So she might have been putting on a show about that, but as she could do more stuff, she's running around, she's like, oh yeah, and I can set this up, and I can do this, and oh look, if you use the catapult here, all the bodies go flying! And we might have set the world on fire a few times with our Runekeeper Lore Master duo. So that was pretty fun. And my Runekeeper made it to level 119. Oh, and she's really excited about all the rewards too, with the cool jewelry. And the fact that...
It is nice jewelry.
It is. And she's like, and did you know that if we do a bunch of these, we could get a few more Scrolls of Empowerment? That's one less day in Minas Tirith. So she's like, this is a great plan. We can have 41 days in Minas Tirith per ally instead of... And I was like, I'm pretty sure these epic battles are taking more time than in Minas Tirith daily. But... No, it was fun, and it It was kind of fun to try it again with different abilities. We ended up running an engineer and an officer, and that was a lot of fun. And Runekeepers can heal, which was also fun because we didn't lose a ton of supplies and banners and things, which is really frustrating when you're running around on a hunter and can't do anything about it. So, it was pretty cool. And we saved a bunch of guys. And, yeah. And, and you could get Starlight Crystals with it. That is true. But she decided that In and Ale League runs were more fun with that. So I did a lot of In and Ale League runs with her. And got I got enough crystals to top off my Runekeeper's fire, stone. So that was good. But she still needs many more days in Minas Tirith. And let's see. Oh, and then with Cinders and Pineleaf, we turned over a boiling pot in the Misty Mountains and watched the chain fire reactions in the Goblin camp. And that was pretty awesome. I think we did some other things in the Misty Mountains too, but that was what really stood out. So, ending. How was your week?
It was good. Of course, I'm using week in like the most loosest sense possible, probably. By week, I mean since last time I've been on the show, which Pineleaf might not approve of because that's a very loose interpretation of week, but we're going to do it anyway. So this last week, I finished update 20. That shows how long it's been since I've been on because it was actually the current content at the time. And started and finished Mordor, which was awesome. It took me over a year to get through it, but it was amazing. I really enjoyed the different areas in Mordor. And now I'm starting to go through Dale and really enjoying it there. But on the way, I went through Lake Town, and I think the people of Lake Town are what I assume Pineleaf would call illogical. Just because they're extremely trusting of outsiders. Like,
Really?
I've never... Yeah.
Really? Are they really, though?
Yes.
Because I don't remember Lake Town being all that trusting, really.
Compared to everywhere else in Middle-earth, the certain people in Lake Town are very trusting of. But
I mean, there's the dwarf that you go drinking with, but...
Well, I'm mostly referring to the certain person I'm not going to spoil, because that gets into spoilers. But I'll tell you after the show, Terry. It's crazy. Also, I returned to Middle-earth lore. Been starting several episodes of that recently, and actually releasing them. It's been years since since the first 4 that we released, and now we're finally putting out some more. One kind of funny thing is I finally, after like a 2-year gap, sent Braxwolf feedback to his episode 7 recording. And gave him a couple pointers, and he had completely forgotten the whole episode and everything.
I wonder why.
It's only been 2 years. Come on.
Yeah. So it took a while to get it to sound. He apparently also like forgot the voice he used to use because he just had to get like back into it. And so it took him a few takes to get back to sounding how he used to, I guess. But he got there, and we released episode 7 this last week. Also, I returned to streaming LOTRO. I hadn't done it for like 6 months probably, but this last month in March I started streaming again, and really enjoyed just meeting up with old people that I hadn't played with in a long time, and just playing with a lot of old friends on there, and then culminating with tonight where I get to meet up with all my friends here on LOTRO Players News. Great to be back with old friends here. So, Terry, how was your week?
My week was actually pretty awesome. Landreval Terry Adwin finished up her deed log for the Misty Mountains, so it's something I've been doing on Landreval is trying to clean up the deed log slowly, one area at a time. And she had made it up through Trollshaws, so I popped open the log for the Misties, and I just stuck a bunch of things in the tracker and went up there and ran around. It's fun running up in areas where you're overleveled and nothing's really going to attack you. And then you can one-shot everything as you run by it, basically. It's pew, pew, pew. And it's a champion who doesn't normally pew, pew, pew things. The pew, pew, pew is actually really fun. And then over on Laurelin, I mentioned I've been playing on Laurelin more recently. I finished Volume 1, and then I just powered through Moria and Mirkwood. I skipped books 7 and 8 of Moria, because I will go back and do them at some point, but I was not in the mood, because you can probably hear that I've been a little under the weather. I was not in the mood to run the 2 solo instances that you run at the end of book 8. So I finished book 6 and I was on to Mirkwood. And Mirkwood took me like 2 days. And that was following the epic and maybe a couple of side quests. 2 days is all I spent in Mirkwood. Wow. I was done. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? I'm done already? Okay. On to Volume 3. So I assembled, great company, some assembly required. Yeah, assembling the great company, beginning of Volume 3. But, when you focus on just story, it goes really, really fast. So Great Companies have been assembled and they're on their way to go stall in Dunland for a while. But currently I am at Camp Saradan in Enedwythe at level 64. So I started back on Laurelin like 2 months ago at level 40-ish, and I'm level 64. So I've been playing a lot over on Laurelin and just focused on a lot of story, not doing tons of side quests, but I've been through the content enough times now that I know that if there's a side quest that's going kind of in the general direction I'm going anyway, I'll pick it up, which was what I did a little bit of in Moria and a little bit of in Mirkwood, because I actually managed to finish the first 3 tiers of Into the Black and Twisted Forest, which is doing the Mirkwood quests. And yeah, I did that along with doing the epic, and I still was in Mirkwood for all of 2 days. And then I went to New York City this week to go see the Tolkien exhibit.
I'm jealous.
I attended the long-expected party on Thursday evening.
Nice.
Yes, I did. And it was
that might have belonged to Community News, because I understand there was
the real-life Lonely Mountain Band was there.
Yeah.
Harry, there was actually a question about that. Did anybody actually record it?
I don't know if anybody actually recorded it. I know lots of people got pictures.
Yeah, Gravity was there with his wife, Levity.
I didn't see anybody I knew, but I don't normally recognize people by face. I met John D. Bartolo, who's the creator and founder of Lonely Mountain Band, and shook his hand and reintroduced myself, because we actually worked together on Middle-earth Lore and we've talked previously. But, as Andang said, that was like 4 years ago. So, but he remembered Middle-earth Lore and he remembered Andang. And then I bought one of their CDs, the most recent CD actually, which is Songs of the Dwarves. And I thought it was, because I could only pick one, and I figured Songs of the Dwarves was most appropriate since we've been doing dwarf stuff in LOTRO. And then I opened it up and he signed it for me, and it was awesome. And I did some other stuff in New York City too, but that wasn't really relevant. But yes, if you get a chance to go to, so the exhibit's there through May 25th, so there's still like 6 weeks left of the exhibit. You should totally go, because it was the most amazing thing. I spent a little bit longer than I probably should have staring at the great big hand-drawn map of Middle-earth and picking out all of the places where I've been, and then looking at all of the other places where I still really want to go. By the way, Cordovan, we really need to go to Rune.
Okay.
It's on my bucket list. To the east, all that stuff that's coming out of the east. I want to go figure out what's going on. Yeah, so my week was amazing. So Pineleaf, how was yours? Follow that up.
Well, I don't think I'll be able to follow that, but we'll see what I can get at least. Actually, let's see. Cordovan, did you want to add anything before I go?
In terms of what I did,
Yeah.
I could talk a little bit. So last week was PAX, and that kept me really busy. And the week prior, I wasn't able to game either. So a little bit similar. I have not had time to do much gaming in recent weeks. So after I kind of recuperated from PAX, though, latter half of this week, I was able to finally get some Spring Festival stuff in. And that's cool because the Spring Fest, goes away. It runs through Tuesday. So I still have enough time to get my 4 days worth, 4 packs of 10 or whatever that is, to get done with the Spring Festival. And I should be able to do that. So otherwise, I've mostly, like I said, just really been playing the Spring Festival. In the general sense, I've got 2 characters on Langeville right now that are equal in level. They're both level 59, and they're both going through Moria stuff.
Then what I did is that first, for Friday night fights on Langeville, we ran Fornost. We ran the raids of Earth, Fire, then Shadow. Though the boss fight for Shadow went the same way the boss fight of Shadow usually goes, and meaning we didn't finish it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar for that. Yep. That fight is a real pain. But we did finish Earth and Fire. And we're doing it in alphabetical order, which is why we never got to Water.
Nice.
And during that time, I managed to gain 2 shields, which were a significant upgrade over the one I originally went in with. Now, the difference between the 2 shields is that the first shield looked like a general purpose shield, while the other one looked a little bit more tanky in its stats. That aside, though, most likely I'll just keep the general one and not worry about switching because you know how I am with switching equipment. On Honor, my Warden complete Volume 1 books 7 through 9 in the Epic Story, meaning I went into Angmar, into that distant location in there, found out little things about Sarah Oakheart and all of that stuff. And then on the field trip, we didn't have much attendance on the field trip side, so therefore wound up heading into Honor, and I was running deeds with Finn. So we were going through the Trollshalls, and we were working on finishing up I think we finished up our wolves and the wolves and the dead, we all finished that up. So, which were 2 of the more annoying deeds that we have coming that you have to get through. Whee! And each of those, I started out with more than slain, and it turned out that with Finn running with a deed booster, we were able to finish them off around the same time. Yeah, right. So next, Maven, what were you up to?
Sorry about that. Pineleaf usually goes last. Here I'm breaking tradition. Yes. I forgot to enter anything. I'm a little bit like Andang. It's been a while. I think probably one of the things that I would love to let the LOTRO community know is that I have completed my master's degree at Signum, and what's significant about that is that my thesis was on LOTRO. So it was the
that is amazing.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's the use of archetypes in Rohan to tell the stories that LOTRO tells. And my assertion is that LOTRO is literary. That this particular game, not every video game is, but this game is literary. And so Chris Pearson helped me a lot. I had a great interview with him. Made of Lions gave me information. And at some point, and I'll let you guys know when it is so you can announce it, Signum does a thesis theater with their master's students. So I'll be doing it's like a podcast where I talk about my thesis, and people can actually attend live if they want to and ask questions, type in questions.
Cool.
So I'll let you guys know. We're trying to get it scheduled. I haven't heard back yet, so we're going to do that. But it was great to do it. And I actually did part of my thesis references. I actually taped, not very good quality, but taped the instances that I was talking about. So it had to do with the traders throughout Rohan. So there were certain stories where there's betrayals of various kinds. And so I was using those stories and comparing them to literary, in classic literature and modern literature, similar characters. So that's part of my reference. And actually now Signum University Library has LOTRO videos as part of its library.
That's pretty cool.
So that was really cool. And then in the game itself, Mythgard, bless the folks that started Friday Night Fights. That's so great. Mythgard and Landreval is gung ho, and it's got it really grown a lot. And then on Anor, Ploy, which is a raiding kin that Sans Winda and I both belong to, they merged with Mythgard, and we have an island kin house on Anor, and it's also really active over there too. So it's really great to see both, and we're actually doing Exploring Lord of the Rings now on Anor too. And Corey's thrilled that we got to Moria because now he can Valar his level 15 lecturer, so we don't have to figure out how we're going to get him around Middle Earth. And then I've been doing a lot of raiding. So, well, it's been really, really fun going through the legendary server. It's so funny, Terry Edwin. I've got this character going through Moria, and it's like, I don't remember doing this. Oh my gosh, I didn't do this skirmish by myself. This is the first time I've done this. And then I remember the reason is because you and David literally dragged me through Moria.
Well, he kind of dragged both of us.
Yeah, he was like, come on, because I was like, I don't know. And when I was first through there, it was like, oh my God, so yeah, so it was like, oh, okay, I remember. This is the point at which Terry and David took me under their wings, took me the rest of the way through Moria. But it's been really fun to do, and we did Forgotten Treasury the other night on level, and it was actually went really well. But it's really fun. I'm really looking forward to doing all those instances on level, and it's so crowded in the 21st hall. It's awesome. Anyhow, and then on Landreval, I got to the end of the raid, tier 2, the Anvil raid. Didn't actually completely finish the last boss, but got to the last boss. So at least I know what it looks like, which was kind of an accomplishment because we had been killing ourselves on the first boss for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then last night I'd been doing Thicko Gundu, the 6-man also, and we did a tier 2 last night that just went so smoothly. We completed all of tier 2 Thicko Gundu in like an hour and a half. It was awesome. So I've been really having a good time doing that. And I've been running around trying to get my lore master up to speed so she can buff people during, group work and stuff. So it's been, I'm kind of getting into the sort of raiding culture kind of. But anyway, yeah, so I'm really loving the legendary server and just still having a lot of fun running around. Druids wanted to say something, right, Druids?
Yeah, sadly, I it's going to be really hard to follow that because Maven is so passionate about everything. But I unfortunately didn't get to play a lot in game the past, as much as I would like, because I was busy putting a community manager into a kilt on Monday. And,
oh my
that's
God. Right.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Because, yeah, it did happen because of the awesome generosity of the LOTRO and DDO communities. And the staff of Standing Stone Games, Cordovan very foolishly agreed to wear a custom Atari 2600 themed kilt 2-packs if we raised over $20,000 for Extra Life, and the players stepped the heck up. And I spent most of the past few months working on the kilt, and as the crafter, I'm like, there's always these little, just like, I want to fix this. But we did a photo shoot at the studio on Monday, and it looks amazing. And Jerry, I know you were embarrassed about it, but you look dang amazing in that thing. I've told y'all guys look great in kilts.
I was driving home, by the way. Was it yesterday from work? And there was a van on Interstate 90 that was from meninKilts.com. And it's not quite what you'd think. They do window washing in kilts. And that's their service. So it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, okay. So that's the secret. Cause we were joking about that. So that's the real thing. Maybe I've got a career window washing.
There you go. That could be your side hustle, Jer. But I did actually get a little plague done. Mainly, I need to sit down and do a lot of inventory management on my account. It's about time to break shared storage in my wardrobe again. And get everything cleaned up. But that's going to happen after next week because I still have some press stuff to do for PAX, not related to LOTRO or DDO, and I'm going to Star Wars Celebration this weekend, and it's going to be amazing. Next weekend, that is.
All right. Make sure. Did I get everybody now?
So Pineleaf, you have to go again. So make up so you can actually beat the end.
I thought we'd say. Well, then.
Pineleaf's speechless for the first time.
Yeah,
ever.
it's all right.
This is actually impressive.
Right. It looks like, going twice is probably not a good idea. Then, let's see. Someone says here that they have a recorded message from Arethyr.
That is what it says. Do you want me to see if I can make it play?
Alright, we will have an attempt here.
Alright. I think that nobody's going to be able to hear you talk if I do this, or else you might talk through it, though.
You can mute all of us if you set it up with the one to the right of the mute button.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, I'm going to try this. This is from Arethyr.
Hey, Arethyr here, and just wanted to say congratulations on 300 episodes of LOTRO Players News. It's been long enough that I don't have any specific memories that just stand out to me as this is the one thing. But I will say, what I remember the most is having fun. Just going live every single week with the express stated goal of breaking Pineleaf as much as possible. Creating commercials with Carve and just generally doing our best to make sure everyone both participating and listening had a wonderful time. Got a chance to play and talk about a game, and ultimately that's the whole point of both playing LOTRO and LPN, is that LOTRO's a game, and its strengths have always been that it's got a wonderful story and a beautiful atmosphere and landscape, but ultimately a fantastic community. And I'm proud and honored to have been part of that for the episodes that I was a part of that, and continue to still partake in the wonderful goodness that this community has to offer. Thank you, and once again, congratulations. Here's to another 300 more.
Alright, and thanks to Arethyr for sending that in.
Thank you, Arethyr. And then we'll see whether that successfully played.
He did, I could hear it.
I was going to say, I'm
I
sure
could hear it
chat
too.
will tell us if it didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I turned on the cast and it was there. So, yeah. Gareth said
It
something.
was amazing how much profanity there was. I'm kidding.
Yeah, because he's such a rebel, that Arethyr.
He knew you wouldn't be listening, Pineleaf, so he just went to town. It was crazy.
I never heard so many cuss words in foreign languages in my entire life.
The one in Elvish was impressive.
Yeah. The one in Black Speech was amazing.
I think he mispronounced one or two in there. I could be wrong. My Black Speech is rusty.
Well, as long as you do it better than Candace, you're fine.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you need to be better than Candace when you do your Black Speech. Then let's head into the next question here is, does anyone have anything to add related to the 300th episode milestone?
I just wanted to thank you, Pineleaf, for your dedication. My goodness, man. It's very impressive being here every single week.
Thank you. And how have you been going along without us?
I haven't, Pineleaf. My life's been a wreck. It's been awful. Everything's gone wrong.
With that, let's head into news beyond LOTRO. And we are going to begin with another wallpaper by Darren Loremaster. Wallpaper Thorn Song, A Break of Day, stanzas 9 through 10. And of course, this is done in a similar way to the other pieces of wallpaper that have been posted. And still wasn't sure whether this was. We first thought, I was like, okay, was this a real one or?
I know, it was an unfortunate posting date.
Yes, an unfortunate posting date. But I believe that Draculetta has an announcement to make.
I do. We at LOTRO Players have been doing a thing for a while now. You guys kind of hinted at it and teased it for a little bit. We're going to formally announce it, though. We are going to have a new show coming up. No start date as of yet, though. We're still actually recording it. We got, well, we'll get into that. Maybe one episode, possibly two. It depends.
With this group, 3.
Long story, yeah. Long story on that. But we are going to do a new show called Misfits in Middle Earth. And what this is going to be is it's a Dungeons & Dragons 5e role-playing game. We're using the Adventures in Middle Earth rule set that I've kind of adjusted a little bit. And we are doing a published adventure, plus I'm twisting it and adding to it as well. So it's kind of a combination of one of the published adventures for Adventures in Middle Earth and stuff I'm creating. I am well, in this game, it's called the Lore Master, would be your Dungeon Master role. We have everybody that's on the podcast weekly is on the show, plus Grey Master, who you might remember from the Tales from the Free Folk show. We didn't know what we were going to call it for the longest time, and then after about maybe 3 episodes we recorded, we decided Misfits of Middle Earth because there's no hope for this group.
Probably literally right now.
Yeah.
It's these guys are a mess, but yeah, it's so if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you like role playing, you like Middle Earth lore, go watch something else. But if you want to see us make fools of ourselves, watch this show. No, kidding. No, we're having a lot of fun with this.
Maybe a little too much fun, actually.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
possible?
My original goal was to have like 6 episodes in our first quote unquote season, and I think we've already recorded 8, I think. Because some of the choices they make just have me shaking my head, and then there's been a few times where I've had to write a bunch of stuff on the fly because I wasn't expecting them to do something, and they did it, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do now?
Well, yeah, but I think you dangled a few things in front of us to make us go in some of those strange directions.
I've been guilty of that a few times.
What I'm getting from this is that Pineleaf did something illogical, and he now has to blame it on you in order to get out of it being illogical.
I don't think Pineleaf had that problem.
Yeah, I don't think it was Pineleaf this time.
Okay. Then Pineleaf's normal, then we're good.
all I'm going to say...
normal and Pineleaf aren't exactly words that are usually used in the same sentence.
All I'm going
to
say is the title of the show, Misfits in Middle Earth. We could not have come up with a better title for the show.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. We are going to plan how we're going to release it. Is probably every other week there's going to be an episode. We're going to have the whole first season recorded, and then we will release that like every other week. And as that is releasing, we're going to be starting on season 2, and we're just going to keep going with this for a while until we get tired of playing and you guys get tired of listening to it. So,
and this is audio and video.
It's just audio.
Just audio. I would like to do video too, but unfortunately, Fantasy Grounds does not have an official Adventures in Middle Earth plugin.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think they do.
Yeah, no. So, and I've kind of been playing with it, and I think I got something to kind of work, but So right now it'll just be audio only, but yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing it. So can't wait till you guys get to hear it. I still have to edit all the episodes, so it's probably going to be, I'm going to say, about another month maybe before they start coming out. But they're going to release one episode probably every 2 weeks. And as I said, as those are releasing, we are going to be recording the new season. So there shouldn't ever be any time where you won't have a new episode to listen to. We're just going to keep recording them. And then the way we're going to release them, we should always have new episodes for you.
Of course, and you have to have the plan that when you TPK us.
I've been trying. haven't been successful yet.
Haven't you thought of another character, Pine?
Another character?
Pineleaf
We'll
is the only one
just
without
show
a
right
backup
back up.
character.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody else has backup characters except Pineleaf. And okay, if anybody, I know we kind of have some crossover in our audiences for DDO Players News. People that listen to DDO Players News know how I like to Dungeon Master, and I usually try to kill my party. And my disdain of clerics because they keep people alive. Well, Pineleaf is the cleric of this group because he is playing the healer. And poor Pineleaf is taking the brunt of all my attacks. And yet somehow he still lives.
Really?
That's because clerics rock and they can heal each other. So I hear.
Well, not in this game system.
Okay.
The healing levels are pretty low in Adventures in Middle Earth because it's Middle Earth.
But yeah, like I said, we are using the Adventures of Middle Earth rule set, which is done on the OpenGL license for D&D 5e.
You said 5e, right? So
yes.
Actual 5e, not 3.5?
No, it's 5e. And I've kind of changed some of the rules a little bit as well, too, because there's some things about Adventures of Middle Earth I don't like how they do it, so I'm kind of like changing the rules a little bit. But we're basically sticking pretty close to D&D 5e rules. So it should be interesting. I hope you guys like it. Look for news of that coming soon to the site. Like I said, it'll probably be about another month or so before they start releasing. But I think everybody that's been playing in the games have been having fun, or at least it seems like they're having fun playing.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm having a blast. I've never done anything, D&D related, and so having this be the first time that I do it, it just makes it even more special and fun. So, I personally can't wait for you guys to hear this. I think people are going to enjoy it, even if it's just to laugh at how crazy and some of the decisions we make are not the most logical, to put it in Pineleaf terms. But it makes for good listening, at least.
Yeah, and that started pretty early in the show too. Like episode 2, maybe the craziness started to ensue, and then I knew.
I'm pretty sure that we set the forest on fire in episode 1.
I did not, and we're still laughing about
that was episode 1. You're right.
What might fit in the 4x4 puppy pen in our living room? That doesn't seem
spoilers, guys.
You're gonna say spoilers for the upcoming episode, but yeah. So there you have it. So yeah, look for Misfits in Middle Earth coming to LOTRO Players soon.
Right. But listen, it looks like we could have Braxwolf actually do his voice.
What?
Middle Earth lore live, right?
Yeah, something. Yes, I heard that something was coming in from the Braxwood. So, hello, Brax. A quiet Brax.
Well,
he was muted a second ago.
He's taking that table out again, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, he tabled his decision to speak.
But
and that'll probably confuse the people from the other side.
Discord might be doing its thing.
Yeah, it does that to people sometimes, where they think they're talking, but Discord doesn't think so.
And then we have a Discord about Discord messing up the Discord.
Discordception.
With that discordant tone, let's head into...
Oh, you can't win them all, Pineleaf.
Just rate the players and help support LOTRO players. Simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There are fun rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. Though I heard rumors that Dracula may someday update the rewards list.
Yeah, at some point I'll get it.
At some point.
There are plans in place. I'll put it that way.
There are plans in place. Now, is there anything you could share with us, Cordovan?
Sorry, not too much. I guess I could say that we are basically just working on wrapping up Veils of Anduin on the development side. We're also working on the 64-bit client. That is at Palantir currently and will very soon hopefully be to the wider community. Could be within a pretty short period of time, depending on how things progress in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. I can say that we are shifting out the anniversary event slightly to make room for a couple other things that are happening along with our release schedule. So the anniversary event was set to begin on the 18th, and it's now going to be... Actually, I'll have to look that one up again real quick. But we have our anniversary event, coming up very soon as well. Okay, so here we go. It's going to begin on April 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and then it'll run through May 19th, shutting off on May 20th at 3 a.m. Eastern. And so it's being shifted out by 5 days so that we can do a little bit more work in a patch for it. But then we're actually extending it beyond that 5-day period on the other end. And the reason we're shifting it out just a little bit is we want to get the burglar rework in on this patch rather than, say, the Veils of Anduin formal patch. Simply because we want to get that stuff out now. And I think it's in a fairly good place. So that should be heading to Bull Roar possibly next week, at least the burglar stuff, I believe. Okay. And we should have a little bit more to talk about there as well. So that's really where we're at. We're basically cooking along on Veils of Anduin, cooking along on anniversary stuff, planning for our legendary server unlocks for the rest of the year, and just kind of, executing on our plans here.
I can only hope that the burglars are going to be happy with whatever update you make.
You mean like Cuckoo? Yeah. Cuckoo cheers frequently.
I want that skill. That should be the sound effect for when you do the burglar days. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Oh, actually, I guess I have one more little thing I could mention, and that is that for those LOTRO players who've been playing on a Mac client, you'll know that our Mac client's been in beta for, it frankly never really left beta. We're working on another solution that should hopefully be a much better client for our Mac users, and expect to hear a little bit more about that in the near future as well.
All right, thank you. Then let's head into our featured comment for this week, where we have a comment from Bragg on last week's LOTRO Players News. And Arandis, what did Bragg say?
Bragg writes, "Hey players, I wanted to chime in regarding the shield spikes question, which was discussed in this past week's show, as my main is a guard. In addition to setting the weapon damage type to Balerian, Ancient Dwarf, or Western Est, most shield spike kits also increase the critical chance of shield attacks, starting at relatively modest levels, but up to 7% with Anorian crafted spikes. This amount can also be increased using legacy traits for guards, adding another 5% of crit chance in blue line, not sure about wardens, though some guards don't recommend slotting these trait points since damage output is not the central role of a tanking guard. I will say that slotting shield spikes as a red guard, either in groups or when soloing, can make a significant difference in damage output from my experience, as critting with a shield skill has some of the best damage output of any guard skill, and even when tanking in blue line, when you can hit 8 trash mob targets with shield smash, potentially critting on multiple mobs for 20 or 40k or more, it can make a big difference. Remember, we are guards. We are not used to putting up those kinds of numbers like every other class. so I do recommend utilizing them as a regular course to speed up your soloing. On the question of shield spike removal kits, their application is definitely a niche situational thing. When grouping, there are times when a guard wants to hold a boss mob's attention without doing significant damage or in general slowing damage output because it might be reflecting, or he might be approaching a morale threshold, which will trigger mechanics in a raid or instance that the rest of the fellowship needs to be ready for. For example, in the silent streets where the party needs to be prepared to quickly DPS the two adds, and I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, it looks like Irnil and Mardil, within a certain time frame to achieve the challenge mode. So in at least a few cases, guards' ability to manage the main boss's overall morale and have control over it can be important. Big crits decrease the control via their unpredictability. Hope this helps or makes sense. Bragg, son of Balin, former proprietor of the Light the Beacons podcast, now on hiatus due to Grima, as far as you know.
As far as we know.
Also, we have a note from the Braxwolf, all the way from the Braxwood. He cannot get his mic to work, but he did want to say that he wanted to thank LOTRO players once again for giving him his start in podcasting and games writing. It all started here.
All right. Thank you, Braxwolf. If you would like to send us an email, you could email us at podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You could also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, LOTRO Players @LOTRO Players, Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin, and Cinders @Emeralina. And you can follow our guests, Anding @AndingLP. Where could they follow you, Cordovan?
You can find out twitter.com/Jerry Snook, and you can find Mock Duck Plays Games. That's my personal Twitch channel over on Mock Duck, and there's a Facebook page for that too. But otherwise, it's all company stuff. So LOTRO and DDO and Standing Stone Games.
Right. Just say, hey, Cordovan.
Pretty much. At this point, I'm half sentient. That means I hear you, but I may not be paying attention. So I might be like, what?
He says that to me a lot on his show.
Yes.
No, but that's everyone knows here how to follow LOTRO on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. Oh, hey, here's one piece. I have on a whiteboard this year, get on Instagram. So that should be hopefully happening sometime here in the near future too.
First picture's going to be you in a kilt, right?
No.
Dang it.
I was going to ask, is there a place where we can find pictures of said?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I believe the FBI is processing them as we speak.
The most important question of the night, though, is the kilt going to make it to Gen Con if you make it to Gen Con?
It better.
Probably not.
I'm disappointed, sir.
You could follow Dracula at Dracula_72, Braxwolf at Braxwolf, and Maven at
Tolkien Maven.
At Tolkien Maven.
And Druid's Fire at Druid's Fire, right?
We'll go with that unless she is able to chime in on that.
Oh, I dropped a link in chat. Twitter.com/DruidsFire. And you have to look for the right status. But it is on my Twitter feed under the media section.
Yeah, so Druid's Fire at Druid's Fire.
Yes, Druid's Fire.
That turned out really good.
Okay, that kilt is epic.
That is fantastic.
Amazing. You did a great job with that.
Yeah, honestly, the best part of the kilt is the fact that I found this beautiful wood grain fabric on Spoonflower. And the kilt also has a clear vinyl screen over the TV because we all know that Cordovan is a vinyl nerd. And for the photo shoot, he replaced the original cord, no pun intended, that he was using for a belt with an XLR cable because he is an audio nerd as well. So I'm actually really happy with how that came out.
Yeah, it was real fun. And
he can change out which game is quote unquote playing in the TV screen because I made him little laminated inserts of his top 10 favorite Atari 2600 games.
That's awesome.
Using a TV screen for the sporran.
Yep.
Yes. And of course, this is a Utilikilt, it looks like.
Yeah, the design was based on the Utilikilt or alt.kilt basic designs, and I just made it my own and had a lot of fun with it. And it was actually kind of a good thing that I lost my job because I actually had time to make it.
Whee!
So, I imagine there's a huge demand for Atari kilts. So, Druid's Fire, if you're still unemployed, I've got an idea.
Well, I suspect
I still haven't told you, and I'm not going to tell you how much it cost me to make that kilt, not counting replacing my sewing machine because I broke it midway through the process.
Oh, yikes.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It did turn out excellent.
Yeah.
So,
kilts are not cheap. I definitely know that.
Yeah, it's on a par with the higher end ones that you can get from those two sites I mentioned earlier. And the big difference is, you're paying for labor in their case. They can get their materials at wholesale, which I cannot. But it was fun. It was definitely a labor of love. I love crafting things, and it's you, Cord. I'm sorry, it's you, dude. And you are gonna wear it to Gen Con if you go, because if you don't, I'm gonna cry. And if I cry, that's just
well, it's more about packing it. Then I'm going to have to pack it. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but there are games at Gen Con.
Yeah.
That's why when you buy them, you ship them at the FedEx office like everybody else does, Jerry.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right. Now, were the stockings done with the kilt or?
I know that was just actually a little bit of coincidental luck. The evening before, I realized that I really was not going to go bare-legged to this thing. So I went to Walmart, like the local store, and just so happened to stumble across some kind of Argyle socks that were kind of perfect for it. So,
all right. Thank you for sharing that. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Thursdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. Now, is there anyone who has anything to add before I sign off for tonight?
I would like to say thank you to everyone who listens to the show. I mean, that's kind of the reason why we do this, is to, for you guys to enjoy and for us all to have, fun with the game. So thank you all for listening.
Also, let it be known that we have still not forgotten Matt Heathertoe Pineleaf. Just remember, we know Pineleaf.
Whiz.
One of
Matt
these
Heathertoe.
That reminds me.
I thought that.
I'm gonna have to work Matt Heathertoe's into our Misfits of Middle Earth somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that Matt Heathertoe's was killed by Netta Pinleaf or someone like that.
We'll make it work.
Okay. Then that's all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.